So this series of video, we're going to talk about how to develop a CI/CD or DevOps solution in by using Kubernetes and by using Helm. Okay. So nothing to get worried to understand what is that would on talking in our rhyming sense. Break the of this whole process of it to explain here into one videos. So let's begin now how we're going to start with this. Before going into CI/CD DevOps, I would like to start from the evaluation of what is evolution of DevOps. Okay, so before that, the preliminary understanding what we would might need is waterfall model or what is Agile model. So let's now talk about what is a waterfall model. If you see, there is an application that to be developed in earlier days or 10 or 20 years before. We could here first our application might have a discussion of a requirement analysis and requirement gathering analysis starting from the month of January, and from January to February this phase would be running, and in February to April design phase would be running. Once the design is finalized in April to August, almost 4 months of time there would development of one, and in the server there might be phase, and after testing phase there would UAT phase that we are in month of. So you have to the application then application which would be shown to the end users for performing the UAT is the first time where the users would be starting to feel the look and feel of the application and to confirm whether the application is as per their requirement or not. If everything is as per the requirement, well, good enough, fantastic. But most of the application concerns by most of the concerns raised by the users during the UAT phase in the waterfall model is they say the application is not satisfactory, and moreover this is not the requirement what they're expecting for. So because of this, there are a lot of disadvantages in this waterfall model. So if we understand what is the advantage and disadvantages. Advantages, we will get some clear goals and directions. And the disadvantage, we mean the application users or the customer has given a requirement of application in the month of January, but it takes see if the application in the month. So by the time if that was satisfied, so we need to go again a cycle of item which might going to be a time consuming. As well, there might be a chance, as I told earlier, after UAT of 9 months, during the new UAT, which is 9 months of time from the requirement phase as per the schedule shown here, the customer might come up with an point we are not happy with the application. And the third final point, if a customer is not satisfied, there is a risk factor that we need to again for all the way from top to bottom in getting the requirements and again investing the team to develop the code as per things. So these are the biggest disadvantages in this waterfall model. Okay. So how to address these disadvantages of model? That see, there is a model named Agile model that would be answering these questions. So the same requirement to Agile, I will break my requirements in phases as requirement 1 to n. So requirement 1 might be started to the developers team to start building their application. So if there are, as an example, you can see here, if there are three modules that to be developed, we will be developing the three modules or functionality as an iteration to iteration. So iteration is nothing but a sprint here. So in my first module, I will do a recommend, I will do an analysis, I will design, I will code it, I will test it, I will do an user acceptance test with my users, and then I would get the feedback from them, and I incorporate that feedback during my second sprint, that is my second module completion, along with first modules or first functionalities feedback from user. So in the month of February, you would see this application putting the module with module 1, module 2, or else functionality 1 and functionality 2 with the updates that has been even updated as per the requirements on module 1 as per the user. So by the some advantages, the first biggest advantages, there is lesser risk because the user has been engaged from the day one of the event, and it has a high customer involvement, so there might be an least chance of speaking risk and as well the quality. But the biggest challenge here is we need a dedicated team to scale model. So now let's see what is DevOps. DevOps in here, it's on rapid delivery, the origin of Agile. As you have seen in my previous about what is Agile. So now the DevOps, we adapting this Agile methodology to delivery assurance. So DevOps, many things inside it, and CI/CD is a part of DevOps. So CI/CD is not the complete DevOps. CI/CD is a part of DevOps. Likewise, DevOps has many components, many strategies inside it. But CI/CD is a part. So what is CI? CI stands for continuous integration, and CD stands for continuous deployment as well as continuous delivery. If you have a very close look over here, there is an infinity loop here. If you can see here, we will plan for the sprint, we will code for the planned sprint, we will build the application and we will test it and we will release it. There will be an deployment and we'll operate it, we'll monitor it, plan it. So if you see, this is how it goes through the sprint one, and based on this, all those we can into my next sprint and it will be incorporated as well. So by this, the development team and operations users, we all together as a single team to deliver application in high quality. So let's go into each and every point here. For example, for example, build. All the tools I have highlighted here are the most popularly used tools here. For example, for build, right, you can use Maven or Gradle, which is the most popular build. And for release, you can use Jenkins or Bamboo. And deploy, you can use Chef or Puppet. So likewise, here in the diagram, I have explained you what are all the most famous tools used for each and every phases of CI/CD. And what is advantage? What are all the advantages of this CI/CD DevOps? It's excellent market, it improves productivity, and it has reliable releases, and it improves the product quality, and it improves the customer satisfaction. The reason behind of all these advantages, we have collaborate very well with developers and operations and their users. That's the only success criteria. Now let's go deep into what CI, what is CI. I see here TS stands for continuous integration. So the left side, if you see here, is nothing but which has two phases within the build phase and test phase. It's nothing but the builders, we build the developer's code and we test it. So continuous integration is the practice of moving all developers working copies to a shared mainline several times a day. What is several times a day? Is based upon how do you schedule your build. Based upon each company's or enterprise strategy or the project strategy as well it might be. And continuous delivery. Let's first look into that. I have developed my application, I have built it, I have tested it, I'm deploying to a staging. Now I need to deploy to production. But in continuous delivery, it wouldn't directly go and deploy production. Rather, it will have an approver who has been assigned an approver to move it or validate it before going to production to go and click on a button. So it's a manual intervention required here to do it and production deploy it. Now look at development. So after build and test, acceptance test would be happening. So once the acceptance test has been passed, it will be automatically moved to an staging environment. And then once the staging environment test is successful, it will be automatically to a manual intervention. So when here the deployment would list, if for example the acceptance test is failed in staging, which is an automatic testing is getting failed, the deployment will not go through deployment in a production phase. Rather, it would be failing, stating that failure is because of these reasons. So continuous deployment is no manual intervention. Continuous delivery is a manual intervention. Now let's stitch all process into a single slide to see what is CI/CD, how it happens at the high level. So local developer he would be code and he would be checking that code into the GitHub source code repository. And in this code repository, what we the in the source repository would have I'm giving an GKE cluster in my Google, or for example, as I stated here. What I would do is I would be deploying an Jenkins as an CI tool. What I would do we keep on polling for my GitHub repository. If any new build it has found, it will automatically pull the deployment and it would build it and it will deploy into my Kubernetes pods as a replica set, and it can be exposed as a service through which a user login and access the application. So this is the overview of CI/CD process. Next, then, what I'm going to speak about is how to caged. In my earlier previous video on strategies, I would have showed, or on my Kubernetes deep dive session, I would have showed you on how to create a Kubernetes cluster. So those clusters are not on private, not secured. So I'm going in the next session the most secured private cluster and how to grant access for the particular people to authenticate or of IP to authenticate and outside their Kubernetes to do an CI/CD process using Helm as well. So next, please stay tuned for our next videos to talk more on that. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.